When we think of ancient architecture, we usually picture quiet ruins reclaimed by nature, silent stone grids left behind by vanished people. But the Kathmandu Valley operates on entirely different rules. Here, a centuries-old urban blueprint still functions as the physical scaffolding for an active metropolis. Drop down to street level, and there is no quiet reverence. Motorcycles, commerce, and commuters flow right alongside, and sometimes through 15th century temples. The spaces vibrate with continuous use. You hear heavy strikes of dime drums echoing off brickwork, played exactly as they have been for generations. How did the indigenous Newar people engineer a city layout so durable that it still serves their complex society centuries later? These streets and squares are a highly evolved machine. Built into the very layout of the city is a defense mechanism against cultural decay. By dominating the historical trade routes between India and Tibet, the Newars accumulated immense wealth. They channeled that capital directly into massive, valley-wide urban planning. But they did not build isolated estates. Their entire society orbits around the Guthi, a system of socio-religious trusts that requires constant, mandatory cooperation among neighbors. To make the Guthi work, you need physical space to gather, organize, and celebrate. Standard individual housing would suffocate the system. The architecture had to force people together. The solution was the courtyard house. Residential blocks were designed as massive rings of brick with elaborately carved windows looking inward over a shared plaza. These enclosures become private stages. They provide exactly the square footage needed to host large communal feasts where neighbors gather in traditional Haku Patasi dress. Even the smallest structural details serve the trust. The dense, intricate carvings above doorways, packed with deities and serpents, act as highly specific focal points for daily, required offerings. The basic building block of Kathmandu's urban plan was engineered to make isolation practically impossible, hardwiring social cohesion straight into the brickwork. Step outside the residential blocks, and the design scales up. The sprawling public plazas, like Hanuman Doka Durbar Square, were deliberately paved wide to absorb the intense pressure of valley-wide devotion. This civic design prioritizes a highly specialized inhabitant. Grand palace structures were purpose-built to physically house the divine, specifically the living goddesses. This is the Kumari. She resides in a dedicated, custom-built courtyard, fulfilling a role that anchors the city's spiritual life. And when the gods leave their residences, the city acts as their transit network. The main thoroughfares are precisely wide enough and carefully angled to route massive annual festivals called jatras. The public squares function as pressure valves, opening up just enough to allow the intense, chaotic movements of lake dancers in their heavy ceremonial masks. The infrastructure supports extreme loads. Tens of thousands of people pack into the arteries of the city, gripping thick ropes to drag towering, multi-ton wooden chariots through densely packed neighborhoods. The valley operates as a city-sized theater. The streets and squares provide the exact physical volume required for mortals and the divine to regularly interact. When you look at the valley as a whole, the private courtyards and the grand temple squares stop looking like separate zones. This diagram maps the flow of daily life. The spatial layout creates an unbroken chain. A resident steps from their domestic door into their communal courtyard and follows a direct, deliberate path outward into the center of civic devotion. We often think historical preservation means fencing off old buildings and placing artifacts under climate-controlled glass. But a culture only really survives when a community continues to heavily use the physical spaces built for them. The brilliance of Newar architecture is its relentless utility.
Namaste हजुरहरूले लोकज्ञान आर्ट्सलाई माया गरिदिनु होला, लाइक, शेयर, कमेन्ट गरिदिनु होला।
धन्यवाद।